as its missiles go off and everything and just hail fire onto the enemy. Well, I kind of love it. And Games Workshop revealed a ton of new miniatures, and we're going to talk about them today, including the Unicorn, the Vampires, and Snake Daddy Fulgrim. He is here finally in all of his glory, and I have some thoughts on him. All this and more in this week's Hobby News, as brought to you by CMO Games. My name is Angela, and welcome to Hobby Night. There was a massive Warhammer preview at the Nova Open 2023 event this past week, and we're gonna start off by looking at the biggest reveal at this event, or at least the biggest reveal in my opinion, and that is Ascended Fulgrim. He has a snake butt. Let's watch the trailer. I'm ready to drool all over this model. I'm actually incredibly excited for this particular figure. We have been waiting for a Fulgrim for ages, and just look at him. Look at this majestic model. The hair, the armor, the flesh, the wings, the snake ass, all of the armor. I think I said armor twice. It's so glorious. I just can't get over how cool this miniature is, because he is absolutely majestic. My one tiny mild criticism of this perfect creature is the fact that in all of their infinite wisdom, Games Workshop did the most ridiculous thing they could. They made him cast in resin. And I just don't know why. Why did they have to do that to me? Why couldn't they just give me this sweet, glorious snake-butted boy in plastic? It's not like they haven't produced snakes and their scales and wings to the scale in plastic before. Just look at Marathi, look at a variety of other demons. They all have big wings, and we've seen snake butts before. So just like, Games Workshop, please. My complaints about the resin problem aside, I do absolutely love this model. And I think, at least from what I was seeing in my chat when I was live streaming this event, is that everybody's pretty pleased with him, actually. Like, no one's really complaining about the sculpt itself. Everybody thinks that he looks just stunning. The colors that they chose for just doing the mock-up of him are perfect. And I really think that he does Slaanesh proud. Now, if only he was cast in plastic. If you live in the US and you're looking to pre-order any of the Warhammer reveals that we're looking at today, then you should check out today's sponsor, CMO Games. They offer pre-orders on most Games Workshop products, and if you happen to live in the continental US and you spend $50 or more on your order, then your shipping is free, which is a great way to save a little bit of extra when shopping for those Games Workshop products. So whether you're into Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, or my personal favorite, BloodBowl, or perhaps you're more into Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, or just board games, look no further than shopping online with CMOgames.com. I've left a link in the video description where you can check out all the things they have for sale, and by using that, not only are you helping support a friendly local business, but you're also helping support this channel, and I thank you very much for that. I'd also like to give a huge thank you to CMO Games for continuing to support the channel and sponsoring these episodes. Now let's go ahead and get back to the news. We're sticking with Horus Heresy, but this time we have a big machine to take a look at, and it's got a lot of guns. Meet a brand new Dreadnaught coming to the Horus Heresy game, this time actually in plastic instead of that filthy, filthy resin. I'm just being ridiculous about it, but I am still disappointed about Fulgrim. However, this Dreadnaught looks stunning, and the first thing that I thought of when I saw this bad boy is, hey, I recognize that fighting style. And if you guys don't get that reference, then know that you've disappointed me and you're not true anime fans. But if you did, then you know that this little guy reminds me of Troa Barton, and I kind of want to paint it themed like a clown, which totally doesn't fit because that's very Harlequin, but it would fit for Troa. And I really do actually like this model a lot. We've seen a lot of focus recently on some melee specific Dreadnoughts. So seeing a completely shooty Dreadnought with just this sheer volume of guns where it just looks like it's going to stand in the field and go as its missiles go off and everything and just hail fire onto the enemy, well, I kind of love it. And if you don't want the ballistics that are shooting, you know, bullets and you'd rather have some plasma weaponry, well, don't worry, you can put some big old plasma guns on it as well. I think this is fantastic. I absolutely love this Dreadnaught, but it's not the only thing we got for Horus Heresy. No, we also got a look at some new Mark III power armored Space Marines, and these boys look super handsome. Let's take a look. Now, I still think I prefer my sweet, glorious Beaky boys, but these new models are majestic, and I know a lot of people are excited to see other versions of armor come out, especially with these particular helmets. I know the Mark IIIs are really, really popular for that reason, so I'm excited to see these boys out. And they do look absolutely glorious. Although I do want to see some of them done up in, you know, Imperial Guard armor because, you know, I love Dorn. He's my boy. They are quite majestic, however, and I like them quite a bit. But again, they just really focused on the Horus color scheme instead of sweet, glorious Dorn. Regardless, though, the new armor looks fantastic, and I might end up getting myself a set just to paint up and have some fun with. Were you thinking to yourself, hey, we don't have enough Space Marines in Warhammer 40k? Well, don't worry, Games Workshop agrees with you, and with the announcement of the Space Marine Codex, we got a reveal of a bunch of new Space Marine units as well. Although, some of these might be a little bit older, just coming back with fresh faces. Let's take a look.
The planet Fulgrim was ruthlessly devoured.
They are really getting mileage out of this particular animation, and personally, because we've just seen it so many times, I'm going to be glad to see it not used anymore in a lot of their ads. However, what I am excited to see are all of these brand new Space Marines, because they're actually quite a lot that they're getting us. You're getting new Scouts. We're getting some new Terminators, because you can never have too many Terminators. Some Stern Guard veterans are coming back. We also have a variety of command squads to choose from, which have some really cool models in it, and they're going to be kind of the focus of our spotlight here today. But there's a lot of good new stuff, and we of course are getting the Space Marine Codex coming very, very soon, which isn't fully unexpected because we know we're also getting the Tyrannid Codex, but ha! Ha ha ha! My beautiful Nids are getting their book first. I don't know, I like that fact for some reason, and I'm just teasing you, don't worry. But here is the cover to your brand new Space Marine Codex. It does look pretty fantastic, and it is a very thick book because there are a lot of units crammed into this thing. And I actually am looking forward to seeing what all the various new units can do and everything that's going to come in this book, because let's face it, I have a Space Marine chapter. I still want to pick up this book because I'll probably eventually run them in 10th edition myself, even though right now Chaos Cultist has predominantly been doing that. But we're not here to just talk about this book. No. We have a lot of miniatures to take a look at, but specifically I want to focus on the Company of Hero and the Stern Guard veteran today, because while we did get a reveal of a bunch of cool new Terminators and my delightful Scouts are coming back, which do look fantastic, and I'm very happy to see because in my original Crimson Fist list back in 5th edition, I ran Stern Guard Veteran with Scouts and Terminators. So all of these things, basically this reveal was partially my old list, and it makes me really happy. Now, these guys may not have been part of my original list, but I do really, really like the look of them. The banner in particular, I think is majestic. My only complaint is I wish the shields at the very bottom of the banner were actually sculpted in there. You could still do a little bit of framework to give a painter a little bit of something to work with instead of just leaving it completely blank. And I understand the reason that they leave it blank is so that you can put whatever chapter you want on it, even though they always paint their stuff up predominantly as Ultramarines. However, because that detail isn't specific to a chapter, I feel like it is something that could be embossed, and it would just be very, very cool. But it's just a tiny nitpicking complaint. I also want to talk about the Stern Guard veterans that we got to see, because they look amazing. I absolutely love these boys. Like I said, I used to run some of them, and seeing them in this new Primarist glory is pretty fantastic. There were a ton of reveals, as I mentioned, and if you want to see more of them, then I would encourage you to go watch my full live stream reaction video where we had a watch-along party of the entire Nova Open reveals, and you can see all of them there. Hey guys, I just wanted to jump into the video real quick to remind you to subscribe and hit that bell icon for notifications so that you never miss any of the hobby content that we make here on the channel. Outside of Fulgrim, we're about to watch my absolute favorite reveal of all of the Nova Open Warhammer Preview reveals. And that is for BloodBowl with some glorious, glorious new bloodsuckers. Just look at these majestic, wonderful vampires. Oh my god, they're amazing. And I cannot wait to get my hands on the set because I absolutely will. The last BloodBowl team that I played and painted up fully was my Necromantic Horrors. And I think these vampires are going to pair with them so gosh darn majestically. And I don't even think I'm going to do anything different in regards to the paint scheme that we're seeing Games Workshop portray them in. Because it is a classic red, white, and black look, and I think it's perfect for them. I cannot get over how amazing I think these models are. They're not even like it's just a BloodBowl set, right? Like it's not anything, like it's not even one of like Games Workshop's biggest games, but like I love BloodBowl so much. It is so insanely fun. The community around BloodBowl especially is absolutely majestic. They come up with grand stories of what actually happens based off of their games in ways that I have not seen in any other Warhammer community. So just seeing these guys come onto the field and thinking about what the community might do with them, the stories that might come out of this, makes me so happy. And aesthetically, they just work for me so well. It is a fantastic combination of classic Dracula with the long capes and the red, black, and white color scheme. And honestly, the high collars, I love it so much. I also find it silly that all these vampires have these super high collars, which was protecting their necks, you know, from being bitten by others, even though they're the ones who are normally doing the biting. That's just in my head why they have them, and it's just ridiculous to me. But they also look like they stepped out of Interview with the Vampire, because if you remember that film with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, they had all those billowy, like, shirts in when they were in New Orleans, like in the olden days and stuff, and this reminds me of that as well. So I just want to do this great combination of, like, those two aesthetics on this team myself. And that's why I will probably be picking them up once they've released. Continuing on with our Nova Open 2023 reveals, this time we've got a Troggoth to deal with. And he looks like a very, very big boy, which personally has me incredibly excited. Now, I have not done that much with the Troggoth faction in Age of Sigmar. I've actually only painted one of them. It's the one thing that I've used my airbrush on. But I am really excited for this new model. The sheer level of detail on this boy is fantastic. It almost rivals what I would say we see on Fulgrim, but not quite there, but very, very close. And the most delightful thing is the tiny little Troggoth that is hanging out on one of his horns. You can see him right there. He's adorable, and I love the fact that Games Workshop just continues to introduce all of these tiny, small creatures. Look at him right there. He's chilling. He looks majestic. He's got some mushrooms on his head. And overall, just the detail on this model is glorious. I probably won't be picking this one up, but I am looking forward to seeing what the community does with him, because honestly, the Troggoths and the Ogres in Age of Sigmar did some amazing paint jobs on them. So I'm very much looking forward to him coming out. If you thought there wasn't enough crumpin' in this particular Warhammer preview, well, don't worry, we've got some Iron Jaws coming up next. I'm actually really excited for these guys, even though in my head, Iron Jaws are more of a Warhammer 40k faction than they are a Age of Sigmar faction. I think it's predominantly because of how just armored up these particular orc lads are. They don't really feel like they fit the savagery that I specifically picture for the orcs in Age of Sigmar. But I am loving these new models, and one in particular absolutely delighted me. We'll take a little bit of a closer look at him in just 1 minute. But overall, I think these guys are pretty badass looking. Now, in particular, the model that I love the most is Zogrok Anvil Smasher. But it's not Zogrok himself that I think is majestic, although I do really like his leather apron. I forgot the word apron for a moment. I really do like his leather apron. However, the standout of this particular set is Clonk. His rock-browed squig. Oh my god, I love this thing so much. He is delightful, and why we don't get more of them, I don't know. In fact, if Games Workshop could just make it so that I could run a pure squig army, no greenskins included. Like, I don't want any Orruks, I don't want any Orcs, I don't care which side of Age of Sigmar or Warhammer 40k this ends up on, but I just want a pure squig army. It's just all squigs all the times. I get a huge variety of them. It would just make me so happy, but I don't think that is possible. If it is, tell me down in the comments below, because I've never heard of it before and I want to do it. It sounds majestic. Now, Zogrok is not the only model that we saw revealed in that trailer. We actually got a huge variety of other ones, including these Brute Ragers, which look pretty cool. And I will admit that at least these guys feel like they fit Age of Sigmar a little bit better. You see a little bit more of their orky flesh, which makes them just feel a bit more feral, which I think fits that vibe in my head better. Although the chonky, like, pant armor it still just makes me think of 40k. It's just so chonky. I don't know what it is about it. I mean, even these boys who still have like the really cool helmets, by the way, love the masks and helms and all of these orcs, but the pants, they really bug me. These guys are, I think, the ones that really make me think Warhammer 40k, if I'm honest. Just look at how heavily armored they are. I know that there's heavy armor in fantasy. I'm not denying that, but it's something about the combination of the shape, the color palette, I think, and just they look like they should be on a Space Hulk to me, less so than they look like they should be on like some planet causing havoc. Like they feel like they should be in space, and I want to put them in space. I could probably put Ironjaws in a 40k orc army. There's really nothing stopping me. Last but certainly not least, we had the reveal of a singular old world model. Let's go ahead and take a look. I will admit that of everything that was revealed at the Nova Open, I think this particular model was my least favorite. And I feel terrible about saying that because I really am ready for the old world to return. I want to see the Bretonnians back and the Tomb Kings back and all of those old world models back. And I do think that this particular handmaiden of the Lady of the Lake on her majestic unicorn is gorgeous. However, I don't know, I was hoping for more. This is all that we got for the old world, and while she is stunning and very delicate, probably one of the most delicate models that I've ever seen Games Workshop reveal, just look at like the cloth and the floral work, and honestly her toesies. Like she's got her feetsies out, and everything is gentle but powerful about this particular model. And I think the sculptors did a great job. But it's also just a lady holding up a chalice sitting on a unicorn, and of all the things that they could reveal, I don't know. This doesn't do it for me. I would have much preferred a single like Tomb King, which I think is actually what we got on our last Warhammer preview. So that's probably why we got a Bretonnian this time, but it would have been nice for something a little bit more. I don't know, maybe I'm just being too judgmental. I'd love to know what your thoughts on this model are. Does it make you that much more excited for the old world, or were you feeling it's a little lackluster like I was? And that has been it for this week in hobby news. Do let me know down in the comments what your favorite reveal from the Warhammer preview was this past week. Mine personally was obviously Fulgrim, followed very, very closely by those sweet, sweet vampires. But I'd love to know what your favorites were down below, or heck, what was your least favorite one down below? What are you just like, nah, they are not getting my money for that one? But I do want to shout out CMO Games one more time before we head off. And if you do want to get any of these glorious new miniatures, maybe consider pre-ordering them through CMO Games. There's a link in the video description below. I have been Angela. Thank you so much to my patrons for making it so content like this can continue to happen. Without your guys' support, we would not be doing this, so thank you very, very much. And I hope you all have a wonderful hobby night.